A strange irony of hell was that, since its modernization into what it was now, that the punishment of being a sinner had mostly been reduced to being forced to live in a RoboCop version of Detroit without RoboCop. As such, true punishment was usually delivered by gang members, loan sharks, and other shady characters. It was, taking the term, living in a hell of your own making, dialed up to 11. Which, while not what any sinner expected after their departure from living, was strangely poetic. But, due to the eternalness of hell, some crimes committed in the eyes of hell's overlords required certain creativity. An infamous example was the Labyrinth, a large underground complex which had overlords wall in their victims into a tiny black room without any escape. Though this punishment could only be enacted on demons who weren't physically strong enough to break through the wall. The proprietor of the labyrinth was very strict about that. But there was a very special punishment reserved for overlords who stepped out of line, and in the process bit off more than they could chew. Overlords, the most powerful of demons aside from the 7 deadly sins, the riders of the apocalypse, Lucifer, and angels, simply could not be punished the easy way. Wall them in, they teleport out. Heck, some might even see this as a little vacation to plot revenge. How about making them addicted to something? Well, most, if not all, had natural immunity to addiction due to their sheer strength. Taking drugs without consequences was something they greatly abused, even if it could make some highs a little boring. But there were 2 punishments everyone in hell feared. One was the endless cycle of self-deletion brought upon by the Red Miss Demon, and the fate that would now befall on a low-rank overlord by the name of Razaf. The demon had been kept chained in a high-security jail for the past 6 months, and today was the day of his execution. The overlord didn't know what was to come next. He wasn't high-ranking enough to know of what would happen. Perhaps he would have taken this more serious then. To him, this was just a little humiliation ritual because he screwed up big time and caused the V's to lose a bunch of territory to Camilla Carmine, territory which by now had been traded back. So, in Razaf's eyes, nothing bad actually happened here. But nevertheless, the door to his cell was opened. He had been kept inside the cube-shaped room via seals drawn up by a Hellborn, working for the V's, effectively turning off all his powers. Through the door came Vox, the TV demon, his face neutral expression, though his eyes gave away the violent hatred he felt for Razaf. The demon mocked Vox with a few insults, but not hearing the hard-headed Vox retort anything back was making him uncomfortable. It was the TV demon who dragged Razaf through a corridor. He had been captured via teleportation interference. As such, this first look at the outside since his capture instantly made him realize where he was.
So what? You're just gonna torture me on TV, bitch? Please.
Vox's lips twitched. He almost smirked. "It's gonna be worse," was all he said. Razaf was pushed into a wide room, and his eyes turned dark. This looked eerily similar to the execution room he had been killed in for his crimes when he was still human. The memories of it make him feel sick. But again, he was cocky. He had enjoyed the degenerative properties of his demon body far too much to be afraid of any bodily harm. Vox wordlessly strapped him onto the chair, and as the TV demon turned around, through the double-sided reflection of a mirror, he saw the most shit-eating grin Razaf had ever seen. That a bitch, he thought. Meanwhile, as Vox stepped through a door leading to a room behind the glass, his face turned from bliss to irritation. In the observation room gathered were a few overlords. Camilla, who was here personally, as she had been accidentally involved in Razov's scheme and accidentally purchased the territory off of him, and she just wanted to see him suffer. Rosie was here for fun, as well as the other V's. Of course, there was also Zestiel, sitting with his daughter Meat at the other end of the room. Meat was the aforementioned horrifying red mist demon, and nobody really wanted to look at her. But Vox had only eyes for one person, dressed in all red as per usual. Standing there was Alastor. Vox hissed, and the radio demon looked the TV demon up and down.
Long time no see, old chap.
The shutdown of the entire V network 4 months ago by Alastor still was hurting the TV demon's ego, as well as its refusal to join his organization, and all the other crap Alastor pulled just to annoy him. But Alastor seemed to be more interested in what was about to happen inside the room than to fight with Vox. So the TV demon averted his gaze. Besides, the other overlord's presence didn't need to be involved with this drama. His image was hurt enough by Razov, so he just sat down, arms crossed, next to Valentino, who was just tall enough to completely cover Alastor up, so Vox didn't have to look at him. "Want some popcorn, baby?" asked Val as he held up a red and white striped bucket. "You know this will be over in like 10 minutes, unless she wants to put up a show." "Oh, I know, baby, but you know me. I always like to throw my popcorn at the height of excitement." Vox rolled his eyes, annoyed, attention changing to Razov, who was loudly cursing. Meanwhile, you are sitting in one of the back rooms of the underground complex. You knew from previous adventures here that this is the place where Val recorded his Black Collection, movies that were so abhorrent that they were only custom-made for really depraved and rich souls. You were right now filing your nails. You're dressed in a very beautiful black party dress, very tight around the chest, flowy just beneath the thick black belt with a skull-shaped buckle. Your name was Rot, which was a surprisingly fitting name to you. You had beautiful Caucasian skin, smooth and free of hair, except for your head. Come to think of it, your skin was so perfect and your face so hauntingly beautiful, you kinda looked like a living doll. With long black hair, red lips, but your eyes, they were akin to endless gaping holes. In a non-Euclidean manner. Once, someone, a friend, poked a very, very long needle into the hole just to see how deep it goes, and they dropped it. You never saw or felt the needle ever touch your skin, so whatever was happening behind your face, it probably was still falling. Which was freaky, of course. You could still see with your eye holes, though. And regardless, as unnerving as they were, you tended to just plug these holes with 2 glass eyes, specifically made to allow you to look around as well as see through. Perfectly fine. The door to your room was opened, an adorable little false imp standing there. It's time, Miss Rudd," he said, gulping. He was quite intimidated by your presence. Smiling, you stood up, slipping into comfy high heels, and then said, "Well, then let's hope this will be fun." You were guided down a wide hallway, the ominous tock, tock, tock of your shoes echoing. The false imp bowed invitingly next to a wide door. Nodding pleased, you entered. The eyes of Rasaf met yours. "Who the fuck are you?" You approached him with a pleasant smile.
"I'm here for your execution."
You stepped behind his backrest that he was sitting on. Looking up at the double-sided mirror, you smiled.
"Greetings! I don't know who aside from the V's and Camilla has come to our little show, but let me introduce myself regardless. I know the anticipation of what is about to begin. Well, I know Val really likes that a lot, and I'm certain you're right behind that window there, sweetie. I bet you're killing it today with your outfit."
You didn't see it, but Val was grinning at the compliment.
"Now, Mr. Rasaf, you have pissed off the wrong people. You know that, right?"
He scoffed, looking down at his feet, a strange feeling overcoming him.
Now, we will start with the usual."
A projector was turned on behind you. Making an elegant twirl, you placed your hand on the wall, pointing at the options.
"For the ones who don't know what I do here, it is called personality extraction. A beautiful little service where I reduce our little customer over there to a vegetable with the IQ of a toddler."
Wait, what? Raza threw himself around in his binds. "What the fuck did you just say?"
"Now, each one of you, please make your choices."
Behind the glass window, the overlords reached under their chairs. They could send you cash anonymously, based on 4 options that the projector was showing. Right now, the options were ears, eyes, mouth, and nose. This was the location where you would start the extraction.
"You bitch! You sent the parasite demon after me? How dare you!"
After waiting 3 minutes, the choices were made. And the option which made you the most money flashed on screen.
"Through the mouth, a classic."
You assumed your Valentina was to thank for that. The next options appeared.
"Now, which memories shall we remove first to get him in the right mood?" Memories of hell, his parents, siblings, or his first love.
Hell was selected with a total of $30,000. Oh, you'd be eating good tonight and for the weeks to come. Removing the memories of hell would be fun, and you silently had hoped for it. And so you stepped forward. The demon was squeezing his own mouth shut, forcing his head to look away from you, but your hand gripped his chin tightly. Using your own abilities, this caused him to drop all his resistance. A neat little trick that you had learned from Valentino. You could learn so much from that pimp. Opening your mouth, you lolled out your tongue, and it split right in two in front of his eyes, revealing 2 sharp teeth at their tips. With horror, Rasaf watched your face come closer, and moments later, he felt your lips touch his, and your long, parasite-like tongue plunged into his throat. He screamed in pain as he tried to bite off your tongue, but he wasn't strong enough. The long spikes soon buried into the flesh of the back of his head. You kept the deadly kiss alive until his panic movements became faster, more violent. The pain was all-consuming, coming from his brain, reaching down to his toes. He shook, and the delicious taste of his brain went down your throat like a thick, sweet nectar. Pulling out of Rasaf, he went limp. You took a handkerchief that you had folded and shoved behind your belt to wipe your mouth. A pink liquid was running out of his lips. With a finger you scooped a bit up and triumphantly held it in the air.
This, ladies and gentlemen, are the memories as well as the personality alterations this man received in hell. Once he awakens, in a few minutes, he will feel as if he just arrived down here. Right now, he doesn't remember a thing he did down here anymore. Seductively, you sucked on your finger before stepping back to the projector. It was during the selection of which memory you'd be taking next when the man that used to be Razov awoke. Back into the man he was. A man simply known as Jeffrey. Like a hunted animal, he looked around, screaming, "Where am I?" He was scared. Just a moment ago, he had been in a brick room on an electric chair, experiencing the worst pain he ever felt, and now he was here. What the fuck have you done to me? Where am I? What is this place? He spun his head around as you stepped behind him, punching him in the head. Ow! His eyes widened when he saw you. Oh, la la, is this some kinky thing we're doing here? If I wasn't chained up, I'd gut you like a fish and turn you into a nightstand. You raised an eyebrow. Ugh. You hated serial killers. At least your audience was nice enough to choose ear next. The rest of the little show went like any other. Sticking your tongue into various holes on his head, extracting more and more of the person he was, watching him turn mentally and personality-wise from an adult serial killer to a scared, edgy teen, to a frightened child, and then, one by one, friends, family, pets, everything. Even the ability to speak. By the end of it, nothing was left of the man he was. And he sat there, crying like a newborn in an adult body, slobber running down his chin. By now, his entire body was covered in pink, viscous sludge. The stuff, his extracted personality that you couldn't swallow quickly enough. You licked your lips. You had eaten good tonight. Through the door you had entered roughly an hour ago came 3 imps. They freed the toddler-brained fool, carrying him somewhere else as he spit out colorful drool. You stretched yourself, and then bowed deeply. Well, this certainly was a delicious little punishment. Crossing your arms, you smirked. Thank you for enjoying the show. Your eyes met with your own reflection, and you smiled. Vox, as discussed, I'll be going to your penthouse, awaiting my pay. You elegantly left through the door you had initially entered through, making your way straight to the elevator. You tapped the password for Vox's penthouse. A tacky little space, with grey carpeted walls and dark blue floor, huge aquarium with hellborn electric leech demons swimming within, and beautifully huge alcove selection via a built-in bar. You sat down on his large heavy black leather sofa, crossing your legs. You watched as 20 minutes later Vox entered through the elevator, accompanied by someone else. Someone who surprised you, as they weren't a V. Alastor? You huffed confused.
Vox wanted me to tag along.
Angrily, the TV demon turned around, pointing a finger at the radio demon. I told you to leave like the others did.
And leave I did. I'm no longer in the execution room, my dear friend.
Vox's face was replaced by a scene of happy tree friends, depicting Flippy doing flippy things.
Yeah, I don't know that picture show, though it does look quite hilarious.
Alastor scoffed as he walked past Vox unimpressed.
Besides, I'm not here for you, Vox. I'm here for the lovely Rod. How are you doing, darling? He stepped next to you and gently took the hand you were holding out, kissing it.
Right,
Vox growled, though he felt a synapse in his brain snap as he saw Alastor sit down next to you, exchanging gossip. Oh, how Vox wanted to twist Alastor's neck right now. You know, Rod, I always enjoy your shows. I never miss a single one. You could say, I'm your #1 fan, darling. You blushed hard and giggled.
Oh, I'm just doing favors for our beautiful overlords, such as yourself, Alastor. Nothing much. Plus, it's food, so this was just a nice dinner for me.
With an angry expression, Vox walked over to his bar. He needed a drink. Oh, Vox, how forthcoming of you. I'd like a Debonnaire with extra ice. Vox's right eye twitched.
Oh, we're getting drinks?
You said, happily smiling at the TV demon, who just barely suppressed a blush.
I take an aviation cocktail. 3 cherries on the stick, please.
Oh, little greedy with the fruits today, darling, aren't we?
Oh, you know me too well, Alastor.
Vox had entirely different plans tonight. Honestly, he really liked your work, but so rarely were the punishments you inflicted on hapless souls applicable, without him ruining his reputation, that is. Limiting the amount of interactions the two of you shared. Most of your time in hell, you spent hunting demons to extract bad memories from to stay fed. And the rest of the times, when not putting on a show for the overlords, you just lazily lounge around in your own city loft, eating sweets and swimming in your balcony pool. A couple minutes later, Vox appeared next to you with 2 glasses. He gave you your slightly bluish drink. But just as he sat down, Alastor took the glass out of his hands, sniffing it. Vox, that isn't the drink I ordered. I'm going to kill you. Oh, is that how you treat a guest? You chuckled at Alastor's response. Vox's eyes darted to you, back to Alastor. The last time, or well, every time they fought, Vox had lost. And he didn't want to risk losing face, especially when you were here. God, how much he hated the radio demon. You took a sip of your drink, shivering with delight. The aviation Vox made was perfect. A very classic gin-based cocktail, which was shaken and served straight up. Very similar to gin sour, it also combined maraschino liquor to balance sour with sweet. Of course, this version was the classic one, with creme de violette for a slight floral hue and almost unnoticeable blue discoloration. You loved this drink. It was so classy. You spent a long time with the 2 men getting drunk. Knowing Alastor, of course, he was planning something. He always did. But, well, his plan tonight wasn't directly nefarious, more mischievous. He simply didn't want Vox to have a nice evening with you, alone. As he could read the room quite well. Vox, as childish as it was, kinda had a crush on you. And he wanted to exploit that for his own amusement. Restlessly, Alastor was sitting next to you, as you 3 exchanged pleasantries and threats. Vox making sure your glass was always full. You chuckled happily. Leaning back, the 2 men looked at each other for a moment, staring daggers. And so casually Vox draped an arm around your shoulder, causing your brain to instantly get into defense mode. You luckily managed to hide it from them, but from one moment to the next you were sober. Brain going from one thought to the next like a game of Pong. Your ears twitched cautiously. Alastor, I think it's time for you to leave. It was Alastor whose arm pushed on your hip. Now you could feel its firmness and the softness of the fabric. Oh, but we're having so much fun. What do you think, Rod, darling?
A bead of sweat ran down your forehead. In your line of work, physical contact was crucial and dangerous, especially since your own magic fingers were used almost daily to turn a demon into a blabbering mess. But then, Vox's fingers tightened around the top of your shoulder. Suppressing your dislike for physical contact, you opened your eyes. I know what's going on here, you mused. Biting your tongue, you grinned. I mean, if you guys wanted to fuck, all you needed to do was ask. Honestly, you were expecting a no from both of them. Though Vox had to admit he thought you'd be a little harder to conquer. Seems as if you knew your place in the hierarchy. Oh well. Well, perhaps, but I'm sure Alice doesn't want to be involved in that, aren't you? Alice's grin whined with disgust. The radio demon sure was fond of you. He liked your methods, your ruthlessness, but he always saw you as nothing but a demon. Now, he kinda was forced to acknowledge you as another person and a woman.
Oh, Vox, you know I only bet on aces.
He licked his lips, lightning fast.
So I know how to play my cards. I know when to fold, I know when to bet.
Alice's grip tightened reluctantly, and Vox's eyes met Alastor's. Well, in that case, grunted the TV demon, I call. Without hesitation, Vox kissed you. It was a direct hit on your lips. He didn't use his tongue, yet. He wanted to test the waters, how far you were willing to go, as well as a little scared of your parasitic tongue. Meanwhile, Alice's grip around his glass tightened, revealing his knuckles, though he stopped just shy of cracking it. When Vox pulled away, he scratched his teeth over his lower lip to savor your taste just a little longer. The radio demon smirked angrily, static coming from his body.
Well then, I raise you,
he hissed. Raise? You asked, but you immediately felt what he meant. Alastor grabbed you by your dress, pulled you up against his face, kissing you like Vox did, except that after an exploratory first taste, his lips began to push against yours, prying them open. Your glass eyes rolled back, almost falling into their holes. His long black tongue entered your mouth. It slithered, pushed, and nuzzled your own tongue, the tip of it gently caressing the middle split, stopping just shy to where the spikes of your tongue were hidden. Your heart pounded, and you hummed lewdly into the radio demon. Vox's mouth quivered at what he saw, a mix of jealousy, envy, and rage and arousal hitting him. Angrily, he pushed Alastor off of you before pulling you against himself, his chest. But Alastor was prepared for that. His claws scratched lovingly over your back.
Well then, how about we show little Rod here how hard we can gamble, old friend?
Vox rubbed over his salvia-wet chin. She is going to say that I'm going to be the better one, old pal. After all, I have more experience in this than you. Amused, Alastor smirked.
If you think so, Vox.
But as Alastor leaned back, you gasped, pressing your hands over your chest, blushing hard, as you felt a piece of rough cloth vanish from your chest.
Though it appears she's already losing her bra for me.
How did Alastor do that just now? The very end.
I'm very grateful for that, and I would like to ask you to please share the video around on social media so more people can see it. And that's it really. But before we say goodbye, I would like to say thank you to all of my lovely channel members who so lovingly support me. We have Giovanni Moriarty, Twilight Mia, Zoe, Angel, Angry Boxman, Hella, BitBit, Melofia, Anonymous Weep, Zachary, Nicodemus D, and Valerie Wings. Thank you for being wonderful darling stewards, and of course, let's not forget all of my other lovely darlings who support me. Thank you for your support. It is greatly appreciated. Thanks for watching.